Urban exploring is the exploration of man-made structures that are derelict or unseen by the vast majority of people. In some of these places, there is an underappreciated beauty that could be described as a hidden world that once played host to a former industry and community. We'll be taking you on a tour around the places that have deep history and no real foreseeable future. All of these places were left open. We didn't cause any damage to any of the buildings in the making of this film. My name's Oliver Tillery, and the topic of urban exploring has been on my mind ever since I moved to Sheffield in my first year. I'm walking around the city, I noticed a lot of buildings that have been left and abandoned, but never really daring to go and have a look. But until about 3 or 2 months ago, when we were actually looking, when I was looking at urban exploring in general, we looked up this forum called 28 Days Later, which posts information and findings from all over the UK on urban explorers. And then we decided to have a look at what's in Sheffield, and we were amazed at the results that we found, and we decided to have a look at a few of them. And yeah, that's pretty much how we found out about urban exploring. After browsing 28 Days Later for quite a while, it became very apparent what the popular explores were. So there was the courthouse in Sheffield, there was Hallam Towers, and then there was the ski village. We were very, very pleased with the prospect of an abandoned ski village, and we got quite excited about it, so we decided to go and check it out. After a half-hour walk, we had finally arrived at the ski village. We had stumbled upon a place that had once been buzzing with families and smiling faces and friends. We, on the other hand, had found it burnt down and ruined. Before long, we had discovered that we were not alone. Originally, we were worried that we were going to be asked to leave. However, to our amazement, it was another urban explorer, an active member of 28 Days Later, who goes by the name of Iceman. We were intrigued and decided to ask him a few questions.
If you could tell us a bit about what urban exploring is.
Urban exploring, it's basically documenting buildings that are going to be no longer with us. Trying to stop them from getting knocked down and turned into car parks and things like that. But once the building's gone, there's nothing. So we go in, we take photographs so that you guys can see it in years to come and say what stood there before. Yeah. Don't take anything out of the building. If you do take anything out of the building, straight away you can be prosecuted for theft. At the minute, the only thing that they can do you for, as long as you don't break in, is trespassing. Yeah. Which it takes them too long to take you to court anyway. So they tend to give you a slap on the wrist and send you on your way. If you go into a building, don't take things like screwdrivers. Yeah. You get caught with a screwdriver on, it looks like you're going in to break in. So
yeah, as long as you've got your camera.
Yeah, camera, tripod, a couple of lenses, that's all you need. Yeah. Make sure you've got a good torch on you. You've got battery on your phone. And if you haven't got, get some change. Make sure you've got some change so you can get in touch with people if anything happens.
Yeah.
After talking with Iceman, we felt more prepared to take on more challenging explores. He had sparked our desire to keep on exploring. He had also told us about places we could visit. As it was early in the day, we decided to take his number, and then we kept on exploring the ski village. After exploring the ski village and having a lot of fun in the process, it became very apparent that this would be one of our safest explores. We had heard about several places local to the city that were more daring and dangerous. As we had become more confident, we decided to go check them out. We'd heard word about a local disused cutlery factory. Because this place is very local, I decided to do a location wreck with a few friends. After the location wreck, it was very apparent this place was very dangerous but could be very suitable for the documentary, so I decided to take the camera and the crew. Upon arriving, it became very apparent that this place was a hub for drugs, raves and parties, and it was a stark contrast between the ski village. Soon after arriving, it became even more apparent that drug use was very prominent here. I was concerned about used syringes and the safety of the crew. The ground was absolutely full of them. This place told us a dark story of drug abuse and broken lives, and we found it almost fascinating that people chose to come to these places to take the hardest kind of drugs. We decided it was probably best for us to not spend too much time here, so we finished exploring and we were on our way. Amongst the rubble there was a few strange things that we found in the buildings, such as a Bible, some CDs and a diary belonging to a former heroin addict. It was apparent that this person left the diary to be found, and this will be a focal point for our next documentary. After a full explore, it was obvious there was nothing of real value and this factory's heritage was no longer here. Instead, we found a morbid wasteland which now serves as a home for a lost community. Because it didn't take all day to explore this factory, we decided it would be a good idea to go and explore another place. We had heard of another derelict factory nearby called Robert Neal & Co, an electrical wholesalers from the 90s. After a quick scan of the perimeter, we gained entry through an opal panel around the back. It soon became clear that this place was also home to squatters and hard drug users. Before long, the decrepit and dangerous nature of this place began to give us some serious concerns. We felt very apprehensive about exploring the entire building as we had found evidence of people living there and potential risk of asbestos particles in the air. We decided this would be a place we would revisit once better prepared and potentially bring Iceman along with us, as he is far more experienced. We thought it was best to call it a day and put this down as a place we would come back to. We contacted Iceman about a trip to the courthouse and he was more than happy to take us there, on the conditions that we met him at 6 AM on a Sunday morning. The courthouse was built in the 1800s as a town hall and magistrates court and is regarded as one of the best explored on 28 Days Later. In the late 90s it was turned into a Crown Court and High Court, but then relocated to a new premise. The building has been placed on the Victorian Society Most at Risk Buildings list in the UK. In 2008 the building was meant to go into auction. To gain entry into the building meant climbing through a half-metre gap suspended over a 10-foot barrier, which led into the basement where many people were once detained. When finding out about the entry into the courthouse, I was immediately very anxious. However, as soon as we were in the building, these feelings were quickly replaced with ones of awe and amazement. We couldn't believe that this building was right in the heart of the city, but it was still very much intact and gave a very good representation of its former glory. It was as if time had stood still in the courthouse while the rest of the world had changed around it. In the courthouse we stumbled upon evidence of squatters currently residing here, just like in the previous factory explore. This made us wonder if there was any help for these people and why they were here. This was a really rich environment for exploration, and feelings of excitement and fascination were flowing through us all. After exploring for roughly 5 hours and only sleeping for 3, we couldn't wait to get outside again. Okay, so we're at the courthouse still. We got here at about 8 o'clock, it's now 10:30. It's still snowing, and it's still just me and Joe and Iceman and his wife. who are both lovely. We're sort of back to the start. The electrics are still working, and yeah, the courthouse is crazy. There's so many places to go. It's a big building, and we've met quite a few other people who have been exploring as well. It's just now we've got to think of a way of getting out. This was a truly fantastic explore and an experience that we will definitely remember forever. After our first explore at the ski village, we decided that the easiest and most efficient way to keep in contact regarding the urban exploration project would be to use a Facebook group. We organised a trip back to Robert Neal & Co to explore the uppermost floors, which we felt too unprepared to do as a trio. However, we were disappointed to find that our previous entry point was closed up. Despite this, we realised that we were in the old industrial quarter of Sheffield, where many derelict buildings still stand. Because of this, we decided to try and undertake an improvised explore. Before long, we stumbled upon an enormous complex of factories with no signs of life in them. After exploring the perimeter, we came across a rather small metal gate, which would allow us easy entry to the complex. Upon making entry, we were blown away by the sheer scale of this place and the amazing artwork which would have otherwise remained unseen. We managed to find a route which led us to the roof of the enormous complex, which gave us a very good view of Sheffield's forgotten industry, where thousands of people once worked. So we're at Parkway Works in Sheffield, which looks like a bit of a factory, and yeah, we're on the roof now. We're just going to go check out the rest of it.
Yeah, we've got an awesome view. We can see probably the ski village over there that we went to before.
Yeah. We've got Rob and Neil right next to Queen's Hotel, where we went before. It basically just shows that Sheffield was a really buzzing industrial city, really, and now it's all just been left.
My favourite thing about it is that this is a place that people used to come every day to work.
Yeah.
And now, like, it's just us, like, exploring around.
What is that, Ollie?
It's an operating manual for the machines that have just been down there. After exploring the various rooms, basements and dark hallways, we discovered that we were in a prominent factory where masses of people came to work every day. For an improvised explore, we couldn't help but feel very pleased with the discovery of this scale. This has been one of the most enjoyable explores yet, and we felt like we were some of the very few people to have discovered this place. This was very satisfying, as the whole premise of urban exploring is to capture the essence of a place and imagine it in its prime, which will never be relived. These are presumably like the offices from the warehouse. It's pretty good, but it's just really just rooms. I mean, there was a possibility there was probably a squat in one of them. It's starting to get really cold now. Yeah, we probably want to get going soon. We felt as though we had stumbled upon a really good site for exploration, and were very lucky with the fact that we gained access to one entire complex which consisted of 3 buildings from one entry point. We left the building through an open shutter as not to attract attention to ourselves. Our next explore was our most highly anticipated and one of the most renowned places to go exploring in Sheffield. Everything had been building up to this explore, and Iceman warned us of regular police patrols and high risk of asbestos in the building. Because of this, we took extra precautions and bought masks to protect ourselves.
So we're getting them for the whole team.
And if we go anywhere else, we probably should have been wearing these from the start. Hallam Towers Hotel cost £1 million to construct in 1963. Since the 1960s, Hallam Towers has had different management. Due to this, it's had to change its name several times. In 2009, permission was granted for redevelopment to Hallam Towers and has been turned into residential units, but for now the building is still derelict. After a long time of trying to find Hallam Towers and wasting money on taxis who didn't know where they were going, all it took was one quick phone call to a relative who lives in Sheffield, and we were given accurate directions and managed to find our way there shortly after. When we finally found the towers, we lapped around the perimeter to try and find an entry. The team's morale started to run quite low as we thought we were going to be unsuccessful. So we're at Hallam Towers at the moment. Every entry we've been looking at is like a massive this like area like filled with these fences, and it's got vandal grease on it. So everything at the moment is telling us like no, like there's no way we can really get in. However, we've seen a wall like just past this wall, and it doesn't look like it's got any fences on it. So we're going to try that entry, but it's looking a little bit more hopeful than it was earlier. We followed our instinct, and to our surprise we managed to find a very easy entry over a small wall connected to a neighbouring driveway. However, there was a flaw in our plan. So we're at Hallett Towers, it's about 4 o'clock right now. We really want to make an entry right now because there's people working in there and the place is under demolition. But the fact that Hallett Towers is renowned, really good for exploring, we're probably going to go chill for a few hours and then come back later on. We killed some time and came back in a couple of hours, and to our delight the construction noises had ended and the place was seemingly vacant. Everyone pinch your masks before you go in. This is why we've got the masks. So we're taking a bit of a risk, but for the purpose of the documentary we're going to go in, but I wouldn't recommend anyone doing this. It soon became apparent that the building was undergoing huge amounts of renovation, and unfortunately a lot of the rooms and floors looked very similar. It seemed like the building's entire history had been wiped clean, and all that remained was quite literally the skeleton of a building which had played host to many people from all over since the 1960s. After exploring the various rooms and floors, we decided it would be a good idea to get up to the top floor, as all the floors were pretty much the same. Along the way, however, it started to alarm us to see piles of insulation on each floor that could potentially contain asbestos fibre. We then checked the air with our torches, and it was quite concerning to see the sheer volume of airborne particles. This made us not want to hang around for too long. As we were reaching the penultimate floor, we couldn't resist a view from one of the building's high balconies. We're at Hallett Towers, we're on the balcony, and the other thing that I just want to bring up is that we didn't have we're no people special, literally anyone can get into this building. We then made our way up to the top floor to take a look at the legendary view. Okay, we're allowed to take the mask off now because obviously we're in a very open area. We're at the very top of Hallett Towers. It took us like, how long do you reckon it took us to actually get here? 10 minutes. 10 minutes to get in, and like nobody stopped us. And this place is just absolutely insane. Like if you came like some people on 28 days would say like it's best to come at night time, but in all honesty, if it was a clearer day, I'd be happier. But look at it, it's pretty sick. Unfortunately, it was a particularly grey day, and we feel as though the footage does not do justice to the view. It was, however, still fantastic and still lived up to its reputation. Despite the fact that Hallett Towers is currently under construction, we had a truly amazing time here, and it was definitely one of our most exciting explores yet. To conclude, we feel like we have become real urban explorers. We have learned how to prepare for the worst and gained a real insight into this fascinating activity. We covered issues such as homelessness and drug use. The buildings offer a refuge for these people. However, why would these people stay there? Is it because they clearly have nowhere else to go? And what is society doing about this? We aim to capture the history of these buildings that will never be relived after these places are gone. And remember, take only photographs and leave only footprints. This was Urban Exploring Sheffield.
What?